It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Newell. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. But for those of you who do know me, you know that that's not why we're always here, right? Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And with that, let's jump right in. Okay, guys, so we just watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13, and some of us thought it was going well, and others thought, okay, maybe not so much. And we didn't really know if it was due to the casting or the fact that they had to pretty much film off and on during a global pandemic. Guys, now we're getting reports that ahead of season 14, Bravo is coming for a few of these peaches and taking them back and offering reduced roles. Now, who exactly would be getting those reduced roles, we're not quite sure yet, but there's a lot of speculation going on, and we can't not talk about it. Guys, I want to talk about the fact that this was one of the lowest rated seasons ever, season 13, especially after season 12 had some amazing ratings. Season 12 premiere came in at 1.2 million viewers, and season 13 came in at a little over 450,000 less. That's not good at all. Not only that, but the reunion was pretty much lackluster at this point. They actually didn't even have good ratings for that. There wasn't so much going on during the reunion. And to be fair, had this Porsha Simon Fallon drama aired before the reunion, they probably would have had a much higher rated reunion, but that's not what happened. Moving forward, who would be getting demoted and also who could potentially be making their big return? Well, that's what we're here to talk about. What they're saying is that Cynthia Bailey, especially after doing an interview, I believe it was with Hollywood Life, but don't hold my feet to the fire on that one. She was making it clear that she understands that her time is coming. Now, fans have been speculating this for a long time because Cynthia Bailey, think about it. We've seen her single, we've seen her get married, we've seen her get a divorce, and now get married again. Now, she's not one of the most anticipated housewives when people think of Real Housewives of Atlanta and who they want to watch. So Cynthia is very aware that her time could be coming, and whether that means she might be fired from the show or offered a reduced role, we're not sure quite yet. Now, she didn't only name herself in this interview, she also talked about Kandi Burruss and how Kandi might potentially be offered a reduced role or fired as well. Will that actually happen? We'll have to wait and see, but we have to think about it like this too. Kandi is getting her new show, and this new show is going to have a very Vanderpump Rules style format where it's going to follow her husband as executive producers, and her mom and her two aunts as this sort of power dynamic of family members who are running the show. They're running the OLG restaurant, and the show is going to be called the Kandi OLG Project. Now, they were reportedly filming this back in 2019, or at least coming up with the concept. So I'm sure we will be getting that very soon. But just to be fair, just like Vanderpump Rules, this show's not really going to showcase so much of Kandi's life as it is the people who they will be following, the bartenders and servers, and this, I'm trying to think of the best word, eccentric group of people who are trying to not only do their jobs, but make it into the business. Will this be exciting? Yes. I mean, Vanderpump Rules is now on season 9. I'm sure Kandi and the OLG Project, I'm sure it'll be a success. And if that's the case, she doesn't need to stay on the Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. She doesn't need to stay on it, period, with the kind of money that she makes and all of her entrepreneurial endeavors. She can walk away, especially if she's walking away for another show. We've already seen it with LVP. She walked away from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after all of the women were going after her. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to hyper focus on this other show that's very successful. And I'm going to immerse myself more into the dynamic of the show. And it's continuing on to be a success. Now, they did fire 8 people, but that's not what we're here to talk about. As for Cynthia Bailey, what would she do next? Well, that's one of the biggest questions, but fans are thinking that she'll be just fine because even though she was trying to tease to us at the reunion that Mike Hill was moving from Los Angeles, technically Porter Ranch, which is the very outskirts of Los Angeles, but hey, no shade here, no shade. She said that he was offered a full-time job in Atlanta and that they will be house hunting and finding a new place together in Atlanta. So it might not be Lake Bailey, but I'm sure it'll be just as nice. And from what he says, even bigger. We'll have to wait and see. If she is offered a reduced role, then okay, but who else could potentially be on the chopping block? Well, there was one cast member in particular that fans were speculating, and also the Jasmine brand, and I don't necessarily find this to be true. They're talking about Porsha Williams. They're saying that Porsha Williams might be offered a reduced role after all of the drama that's going on with her and Fallon Gobadia and her new engagement to Simon Gobadia, but I don't see that as a reason to reduce her role, especially when she carried a lot of this past season. Now, it was speculated that she might end up getting her own show, and that was by Kate Chastain from Below Deck, because what they're feeling like, or what she said, is that Porsha was offered a 3-part series in order to do sort of a test run to see how the fans will respond to her on a show that solely focuses on her life. Now, if they do end up bringing her back as a housewife and they're kind of testing her out for this new show, whatever this might be, this special 3-part series, it could be interesting, because what if they offer Fallon Gobadia a peach? Guys, if you missed my interview with Fallon Gobadia, she did say she was offered a peach a few times over. She was at least, presented with the opportunity to come on the show. She had producers knocking on her door for 3 seasons in a row. And then finally, she got to a point in her life where she was like, okay, I'm ready for this. She had everything that it took to be a great housewife. She's poised. She had a private jet. She has the car. She had the wealth. Now she's getting a divorce. We don't know exactly what she'll have left. But the fact is, if they do offer her a peach, everyone will be watching this upcoming season in anticipation to see what that dynamic looks like between her and Porsha. Will Porsha bring Simon Gobadia around Fallon? Will they have to address this conflict? Because we know, as a Real Housewife, you need conflict and resolution. Will they be able to move on? Will they be able to move forward? There's so many questions that people are asking. And I think, honestly, it would be a killer season. They were worried about the ratings dropping this past season, but if they bring on Fallon and have her and Porsha go toe to toe, which that's not something we want to necessarily promote, but if they do, and we have that to look forward to, that trailer is going to be amazing. The show is going to be highly anticipated, much like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and all of us watching Erica Girardi with all of her upcoming legal drama. Now, last month, they were saying that a separate source said that Real Housewives of Atlanta lost a little bit of their superiority, because if you remember, Real Housewives of Atlanta, it was the highest rated franchise on Bravo. Now, is it anymore? Obviously not. But with that, it's having producers seriously contemplate bringing Phaedra Parks back, especially if they take Kandi off the show or offer her a reduced role. That gives them the opportunity to bring Phaedra back, because she's had a lot of time off the show and she has paid the consequences for her actions in some degree. Now, one of my biggest questions is, would you guys want Phaedra Parks back on the show? I think it would be killer. I love Kandi. I love Kandi for the show, but I think that her storyline is a little bit played out as well. If you guys think about season 13, her biggest part of the storyline was sending her daughter Riley off to college. And that really, to be fair, wasn't that interesting. I mean, she was also holding the secret of who ended up hooking up with Bolo that night of Cynthia Bailey's bachelorette party. But I just don't know if it's enough to keep her around. Now, if they're not keeping her around and she's solely focusing on this new show, they can bring Phaedra Parks in. This is like on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Bravo producers were telling Brandi Glanville, hey, listen, right now, as long as LVP is on the show, we don't want to bring you on the show. But maybe in the future, if she ever leaves the show, we'll revisit this. Then after she left the show, they said that it was so fresh that it was almost like ripping off a Band-Aid, and they didn't want to throw anything in her face. So Brandi Glanville still didn't get her diamond. As for Kandi Burruss, if she does leave the show, Phaedra Parks has drama with some of the women. Her dynamic with Porsha and having to own up to kind of puppeteering Porsha to go with this whole sex dungeon narrative. And then also, she's never really gotten along with Kenya Moore. How will she reintegrate into the group? She's a strong woman. I have a feeling that she would have no problem in doing so. And I hope, and guys, don't rip my head off for this, but I really hope they bring her back. I want to know what your thoughts are, though. Would you want to see Phaedra Parks back? And how would you feel about bringing back Fallon Gobadia as a full-time cast member? Don't you think that dynamic would be great? Or do you think it's just a little bit too messy for reality TV? Honestly, is there anything that's messy or too messy for reality TV anymore? I don't have the answer for you. Now, a source told The Sun back in April that Real Housewives of Atlanta producers were not happy with the ratings this past season. So there definitely will be a huge cast shakeup. But as of right now, as far as who would be returning and who wouldn't, the only person we know that definitely will not be returning is LaToya Ali. Everyone else is kind of up in the air at this point. But with Kandi getting her show, Porsha getting her 3-part series, Phaedra potentially coming back, and Fallon Gobadia being willing to accept this peach, I could definitely see where they would do a lot of moving around. Are you guys excited about that, or are we not into it? Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and comment your answers to all of the questions that I've asked. But before you go, you know how this works. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And with that being said, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Check us out every Monday and Wednesday. Thanks for watching Up and Adam.